Yes, sir. Can you see now?
Yes, I can see. It looks
This
very
is a
nice.
community hall, and
Yes.
where they play badminton here.
Okay, okay. Do you
There's a
also play?
playground out there,
Ah,
and this a pond near the community hall where they use it for washing dishes. And that's my house
okay,
out there.
okay, okay. Nice. It looks like a very nice place. Maybe we can come and visit one of these days. Very good, Henja-san. Correct answer. Very good. Neha has said that it is the Spanish flu. They called it the Spanish flu only because Spain reported it. All other countries, they kept it top secret. Today we will look at three aspects of your syllabus of history. First is Satyagraha. The second is the Satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act. And thirdly, the Jallianwala Bagh incident or the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Let us begin with Satyagraha or the idea of Satyagraha. What was it? Now, Satyagraha relies on the power of truth and also the need to search for truth. It puts a simple condition, and if the cause was true and if the struggle was against injustice, then violence was not necessary. Now, this was an appeal to the conscience. The conscience is something that is present in every human being. Gandhi wanted to say that people should be persuaded to see the truth rather than being forced to accept it. Therefore, when people are convinced and they see the truth, that will lead to the victory. There's a Sanskrit word called Satyameva Jayate. This embodies or this completes the meaning of what Gandhi is trying to say. This concept or this dharma or this religion of non-violence could unite all Indians. The Champaran Satyagraha of 1917 was the first Satyagraha movement led by Gandhi. First, let us identify where is Champaran on the map. You will need to pinpoint it on an outline map of India in case the question is asked in your exams. In 1917, the farmers in Champaran district of Bihar were protesting having to grow indigo with barely any payment for it. Gandhi also was called Bapu or father and Mahatma. This was the first time that this title was given to Gandhi. Gandhi himself did not like being called Mahatma and he preferred to be called Bapu. In 1918, in Ahmedabad in Gujarat, an industrial dispute broke out between the owners and workers of a cotton mill. Gandhi intervened and began a hunger strike or a fast. This was the first time that he utilized this method of passive resistance. Other workers also joined in, and this fast lasted for 3 days. This was a very successful event, and so Gandhi had success not just once but twice from 1917 to 1918. Now, where is Ahmedabad on the map? Now, you should be able to pinpoint Ahmedabad on the map in case the question is asked. In Kheda in 1918, Gandhi organized this movement to support the poor peasants. In 1919, the infamous or the Draconian Rowlatt Act or the Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act of 1919 was implemented by the British. Gandhi organized a satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act. This was an all India satyagraha. That means it took place all over India. Now we will go to the Jallianwala Bagh incident. Now let's look at what happened before this incident. The All India strike started on 6th April and it was quite strong. And the British responded with force. And on 10th April, In Punjab, Doctor Satyapal and Saifuddin Kichlu, they were arrested. At the same time, on the same day, this is 10th April, Gandhi was also on his way to Punjab. There he was stopped at Palwal in the railway station. Palwal is in Haryana. And when the public heard of this, they started very severe protests. And there was even violence and police firing. So there was already unrest in Amritsar. The next day, on 11th April, the protests were very strong. The local administration, the local police could not control it anymore. The protesters had taken control over the whole or the old Amritsar city. So what does the British government do? They hand it over to the army. At that time, Brigadier General Reginald Dyer. Now, where is Amritsar? It is right on the border between India and Pakistan. Now, this is 1919. At that time, there is no India, there is no Pakistan. This was all part of the Punjab. So, Brigadier General Reginald Dyer enters Amritsar along with his soldiers, with his troops, and he declares martial law. The unfortunate date in history is April 13th, and that day also happened to be the Baisakhi day. Baisakhi is the New Year or the New Year festival. It is not only for the Sikhs but also for the Hindus. Now, on the same day, unfortunately, there was also a public meeting that was called to defy this order given by General Dyer. At that time, people were already inspired with an anti-colonial or an anti-British consciousness. So they had gathered there in the Jallianwala Bagh, and when Dyer entered with his soldiers, they didn't even bother, and they continued with their meeting, and they were not afraid. Now, Dyer is a military man. He will not take no for an answer. It's just a small entry and a small exit. This is the only way in and the only way out. So the people inside there were more or less trapped. They had nowhere to run, nowhere to escape. The official account is that 379 people died and about 1,200 were wounded. But actually, the number is much higher. Now, I will not open that discussion, and we are not opening an inquiry committee. And we don't actually need to go by this figure or that figure, but just that it was a massacre and lots of people died. In the hundreds, they died. Now, what you can actually calculate and give you an idea is, and the British maintained records, they would probably not disclose the number of people who died or wounded because it was an embarrassment to them. The British kept a record of how many bullets were fired. That they had to do. It is part of every army or every military or every paramilitary or police rules or protocol. Every bullet that is fired, you have to give an account. So on that incident or that day, they fired 1,650 rounds or 1,650 bullets. There were 50 riflemen or 50 soldiers, and each of them fired 33 rounds each. And this lasted for 10 or 15 minutes. So you can imagine how many people would have died, how many people would have been injured. And you can understand the extent of devastation that could have taken place. There is nowhere to run, and bullets are flying all over the place. There was a well in which some of them jumped in, and many of them also died inside this well. Now, till date, Great Britain or England has never formally apologized for the massacre. They have never said sorry. Only thing they have said is that we regret it happened. They said it last year in 2019. This was the first time they had actually expressed some regret or some remorse. Anyway, we are not opening a committee of inquiry into this, and we're not reopening this. The fact is that in history, we are studying the fallout or the result of what happened. Now, there was a lot of criticism back in England, even among their own public, their population, and also in India. And there was a wave of outrage throughout India. That means the agitation became very strong and it became violent. There were strikes, there were more clashes, more fights with the British. Government buildings were attacked, and the British also responded with more repression. So, what does Gandhi do? he called off the movement against Rowlatt Act. This happened in 18th April. So very quickly, say within 5 days, Gandhi had called off this movement. Now, Gandhi was a wise man and also a practical man. Remember, we are talking about Satyagraha. So Gandhi, in his own words, he said that in placing civil disobedience before constructive work, I was wrong. And I did not profit from this blunder. He calls it a Himalayan blunder. And he feared that if it continued, he would be separated with his co-workers or with his followers. When Gandhi is preaching non-violence, don't fight, and his followers are doing the opposite, that relationship is not going to last. In your history, this is a pattern. Gandhi starts something and then he stops, he suspends it, and then he starts and then he stops again. Historians or many, let us say, academics or scholars have criticized him, saying that if Gandhi did not follow this approach, start, stop, start, stop, we might have got independence much earlier. But we need to look at the method of Gandhi. Not only this freedom movement or national movement, but even beyond that, he was a man of vision. Now, if people use violence method against the British, most probably they would also use violent methods against each other. That is something he did not want to do. And he wanted to make non-violence a habit. Mahatma Gandhi, in his own words, said, "We don't want revenge. We have no desire for revenge. We want to change the system that produced Dyer or people like Dyer." He also said, "Perhaps I started this movement a little bit in a hurry or prematurely. I should have started only when the people were properly trained or understood the importance of non-violence and the dangers of violence. Violence is violence, whether it is by the British or by the Indians." All right. A Jallianwala Bagh incident or the Punjab wrong or the wrong that happened in the Punjab became one of the major reasons which, along with the Khilafat issue, which launched the non-cooperation movement the next year. Non-cooperation movement and Khilafat is something we will do in the next class. Gandhi very famously said, "The truth is still the truth." The truth is that you are a student and you will not just the matric or 10 exam, you have many more years of studies left in you and you need to complete that properly. The truth will set you free, and in the case of India, the truth did set us free. Let us not forget that.